Olaf, you've had now a few weeks of training camp. You've had a couple preseason games. What have you seen? What have you liked? And how is it going on implementing your style of play?
It's going well, I think. It's been a good camp. We've been working hard, trained a lot. So we were a little bit. We were very heavy actually in the first game. Struggled a little bit, especially our attacking wasn't good enough. We worked a little bit on our freshness for the second game and played really well. Overall they worked hard, obviously from a physical point of view, but also tactically, and pleasantly surprised how well things have worked so far.
About the attack, what have you seen from Klaus in this brief time? Because obviously he's a designated player on this team and a lot expected from him.
Yeah, I mean, I think also now there's a lot of focus on the tactical and the physical aspects. So I think we've got him and the others as well. Still got some work to do in the technical abilities, and we haven't worked so much in detail yet in the final third. So I think things will improve in that area over the coming weeks.
Santi?
Staying on training camp, what have you seen from the homegrown players and also from the draft picks?
Yeah, they've done really well. A lot of energy, worked hard. They've really good data from a physical point of view, and also taking on board our style of playing now. So they've done really well, and playing time as well in the games. So pleased with that.
Corey?
Coach, I know you guys are just coming together in these few weeks, but how have you felt that this team wants to win right away, especially after last year? Is there really that kind of feeling of we want to get right back out there and we know we have what it takes to win right away?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially in the last game now we played against New York Red Bulls, you could really see the energy. It was tough earlier in the preseason and for the first game because we were quite heavy. We trained a lot in the days before that, a few double sessions. Just before that game. So I think when everything comes together and they're really starting to understand the way we want to play with intensity and what that means for us, and we definitely saw some good signs of that especially in the game against Red Bulls and also in training as well.
We'll go to Frank, then Matt.
Lutz, this is the third roster you've assembled, and I know it's really early, but at least on paper, do you think this is your most talented roster?
It's tough to say. I think we had always a talented roster, but if you're looking purely at numbers and names, we probably had the weakest roster in year one, and we won the Western Conference. We had a bit of a better roster in year two, and we didn't make the playoffs. So I think it's, as you said, very early doors. You can't really say too much about it yet. We still have a transfer window which is not closed. So I think that's the beauty about preseason, that you can watch and you can analyze, and the two of us sit together every evening to see, is there still something we want to do, or are we happy with that what's available? So yeah, I think we have a talented one, but I don't think you can compare roster 1, 2 and 3. They know us, they know how we play. Now we having a few surprise elements again, obviously, with different players and also a new coach. But we will figure that out, Frank, once the season is on the way.
Matt?
Olaf and Lutz, any decisions made yet on who's going to be joining the camp and who's going to go down to City 2 for California?
Yeah, we made the decision, but I can't tell you. So we figured it out the next 2 days. We have 2 more sessions before we going. See how the players feel. There is some players obviously which are more bound to City 2, and we will finalize that decisions on Sunday or Monday but we have a rough idea who will go and who will not go.
And any updates on the injuries? How's Ostrak and Pompeu progressing along with Durkin and JGR?
Yeah, doing really well. Thomas and Celio were out on the pitch today, and we integrate them more and more in the collective training. So looking good for them too. Chris was also out there running a little bit today, so everything according to plan. But he'll probably not be involved in team training within the next week or so. But after that, should hopefully be ready.
Sorry, how's Rasmus Alm doing? Didn't appear in the 2 preseason games. Sounded like he's nursing his knee. Is everything on track for him still to begin the season?
Yeah, it's not his knee, it's groin. He had some problems with that in the past, so we're taking it a little bit slowly there. But he was also out on the pitch running today, and he feels better. So hopefully he'll be involved in training next week.
Tom, then Brendan.
Lutz, how would you compare the vibe around the team, the feeling around the team this year compared to the first 2 years?
The vibe in Brazil is always good, Tom. I think there's always new players. Now we also have a new coach, new coaching staff. There's new faces. There is a different kind of everything in certain details, and I think that's very important. It's now, I think, a time for Olaf and the new assistant Wally to get the players known more and more by detail, not just from the footballing style, but also from a personality, the way they behave on and off the pitch. So I think the players are obviously, doesn't matter how long you are here, everybody needs to prove themselves completely new. So that's always an advantage if a new coach comes in, because even the guys who played every minute in the last 2 years, in the end of the day, counts nothing. Olaf needs to make himself the picture. We think who are the best 11, and if the best 11 are 11 completely different people than played last year, and so be it. So it's a competition, it's a fight. It's every training is important for everyone to show themselves. It's an open shopping window, and I think especially now in Camp 2, with 4 games to go in preseason games, that's a lot of games. I think the players, they need to be burning, and need to, like Corey said, they need to be willing to win. Having said that, I think they also wanted to win last year every single game, and I think if anybody goes on the football field doesn't want to win, I just jump onto you now, doesn't want to win, then they should look for a different job. So I think that's very, very simple and very clear, and I think we forcing that now, that they're getting more competition for every place, and I think that's very important for a training camp to use that time to really fight for your place, give your first and best impression, and then trying to be a starter.
Go to Brendan, then Justin and Jen.
Lutz, there were some reports yesterday that maybe there's some outside interest in Roman Berkey. Knowing that this would be the last year of his contract at the moment, does that bring any more urgency to the table, knowing maybe the window with Roman could be closing?
No urgency at all. I mean, I can tell you that Roman Berkey will start the season with us and he will finish the season with us. So there is no, it doesn't matter, even if the Moon or Barcelona is interested in him, he will not leave St. Louis City this year and he will stay with us. And of course, then there is 26, 27, 28, and there's a future to talk about it as well, but that's something which we have to figure out with Roman and his agent, and there is talks, and Roman is our captain. He's the best goalkeeper in the league. He's a very important player for us, and of course, we're working hard to keep Roman here as long as possible. But right now, as I said, it doesn't matter if it's Copenhagen or anybody else. I'm just reading as much as you do because for some reason I didn't receive anything. So I don't know. So Roman is here and Roman will stay here, simple as that.
Justin?
There are a few players on this roster who can play at multiple different positions. Your job coming in and giving everyone a clean slate. How much of preseason is just about experimenting with players in different spots, and how much leeway do you give them as you kind of progress through preseason?
Yeah, I think it's important that they can play at least a couple of positions, and we are trying that in training and in games. So, yeah.
Is that like flexibility more important than necessarily nailing down what player is best at what position?
I think it's a little bit of both. We don't have that much time and not that many games, so it's a balance. We want to try players in a few different positions, but it's also important to start building relationships within the team in the position we mainly think they're gonna play in.
Jen?
For Lutz, you or Coach Olof, thinking about the way City attacks, and that Lutz, you kind of mentioned there might be no more surprises because people know how we like to play, but we know that Coach Carnell attacked in more of a chaotic way, liked to take advantage of the chaos. When John Hackworth kind of came in as interim, he worked on balancing the opponent, certain pressing triggers. And Coach Olof, you talked a little bit earlier about making sure that there was more control in the attack. Might there be enough surprise there for teams yet to not be prepared for? And how is the control in the attack going in preseason so far?
Well, when I was talking about control, it was more, I think, our positions if we lose the ball, like rest defense and being more in control that way, so that we can be more dangerous in attack. And pin opponents down and create more chances. So I think that I was talking more about that. So definitely we want to be an unpredictable team and a surprising team. We like to direct attacks and to get in behind opponents, and that is something we're working on, and being predictable to ourselves, but unpredictable to the opponents, and it's been okay. First game was not good. We played. It was actually quite bad from an attacking perspective. Defended really well. We've done that over both games. We barely have conceded very few chances in both those games. And in the second game, our attack was really good. We should have scored at least a couple of more goals in those first 45 minutes against New York Red Bulls, and a lot of positives to bring from that game especially. And again, still pre-season, so we have a lot of work to do in the technical stuff and movement in the final third to become even more sharp.
Jacob?
Lutz, it's a small sample size, but nevertheless a sample size of what Olof has done and being on the pitch the last couple of weeks with this team. What have you seen as far as his pitch presence with the team and how the team has responded to his style of coaching, being a new coach here?
Yeah, we are definitely very organized. This was a very important puzzle piece for me, that we're getting the presence and an aura on the field where we're working more on the detail, we're working on a good structure, we're working on a good organization. And as Olof just mentioned, we played 90 minutes and we hardly gave a chance away. We conceded one goal, which was more like a slapstick than a goal, but that happens in preseason. So for us to and it's always difficult, of course, bringing in a new coach who has to get to know the players and the other way around. But that, for me, that's the most exciting thing about football, because we have, I would call it a different momentum, what's happening right now. So I think so far it works really well. Two of us have a very good communication. I think we talk more to each other than to our wives at the moment. So, yeah. But that's important in preseason, and I think moving forward now, I think it will get more and more automatized from everything we're doing on the pitch. So I think, as I said, it's always about the first impressions. You only can make a first impression once, and then it becomes more and more about to get to know each other.
Olaf, what have you learned? What are the lessons you've learned about both the team and just Major League Soccer? Now you had a couple games, even if they're only preseason games.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't with these first few weeks. I haven't watched too much of the other teams. I did that before I came here to get an idea. But I'm pleasantly surprised in the way they have understood what we're trying to do, especially from a tactical perspective, and again from a defending perspective, really good. Some great pictures from training and in the games. So that is always nice as a coach when you have intelligent football players who can quickly adapt to the way we want to play.
And what are the plans for the California portion of camp? Will the lineups we see in those games be more indicative of what you're looking at for when the season starts?
Yeah, I think so. Probably the closer we get, we don't have that many games. So again, this camp was a lot about getting the physical load. We trained a lot too much to be able to be really sharp on game day. But I think we're now going to look to lower that load a little bit, so we can be sharper and start to work in detail in the way we play, and also with the players we're looking to play when the season starts.
Jake Goodwood-Reich, what's his status?
Yeah, he's not okay yet. He was also sick a little bit during the camp here, so was not an ideal camp for him in that respect.
And Lutz, any updates on Wallem? Is he close to arriving?
Very close.
Will he be there at the start of California camp?
Yes, he will.
You're acting very mysterious when you say that.
No, not at all. No, I mean, it's good. So he's picking up right now his work permit, and he should be back in 2 hours. And then we still have to do some medicals, final examination with him, but he will be available for Coachella, and he will be available for the start of the season. Jacob would like to add that to Olaf, he still obviously had an operation done as well. And he was sick in camp, couldn't even do that much on the field at all, but he's still far away from coming back after having a small surgery.
We'll go to Matt.
Lutz, any movement on the horizon? I think you have one roster slot available, and you seem to be pretty heavy at center back.
Yeah, we are pretty heavy on center backs at the moment, but I think knowing from last year that we played 11 different ones, so we want to be careful this year and have a good numbers of backups. As you saw, we played with 3 centre backs the first two friendly games, so that's also a reason why we have maybe a bit more numbers than other teams would have. Yeah, there is still one roster slot open, and we're working on and thinking about how to fill it, or if to fill it at the moment, or if we should wait till the summer. But that's something which we will also more or less decide during camp in Coachella, now when we see where we stand. You mentioned all the other guys who are just coming back from injury, or who are still have injured, or just basically recovering from surgery. That all will determine if we still will be active on the market or not.
We'll wrap up with Tom Schwartz.
Coach, is there a team, international club or country, that you could point to and say, that is the team that I want my team to look like, style-wise, if nothing else?
No, I wouldn't say so, but in general, I mean, at the highest level, they play with a lot of intensity, always switched on, the top quality players, the tempo of the game. So, I spoke about it in the last conference as well. That's something we really want to build. Players who can play with a high intensity and high tempo.